Government is shut down. It is approaching day 6 of the federal government shutdown. I am so grateful for each and every one of you being here. Hello, Pro Dumpster Diver. Thank you for being here. Thank you all. And what's up, Netta? We are here to talk about what does this mean? What is it? What's the whole kind of background? What's up, Michael? What's up, Janelle? What's this whole background around a federal government shutdown? And what does this mean for us? Okay. What does this mean for us? And thank you for all my first timers. Thank you all for being here. So, the federal government, whether you wanted this or not, the federal government is a place with elected officials, right? So you have House of Representatives, you have senators from all the amazing 50 states. Whether you vote, you can't vote, maybe you voted 7 times. Maybe you're like that superintendent. Who knows? But what I do know is the federal government is in charge, outside of God, of course. Meaning, every single year, they need to vote on a budget, and it becomes tumultuous, right? It's almost like it turns into this pettiness. Instead of pretty and petty, it just turns into petty, right? It becomes very politicized. One side will want something, another side will want another. And so what they do is, we're just going to shut the government down. It's equivalent to none of you are eating. If you ever had that growing up, type yes or hit some hearts, like, subscribe, hit that notification. Like, if you don't want what we're cooking, well, you're not going to be able to eat. And there was no ordering Uber Eats or like getting some cereal. It was like, you're going to bed hungry. That's kind of the mentality. So the hungry part is there's no funding. So if you have a contract that is deemed not critical, you're not going to be able to work on it. You will get a stop work notice. If you are a government employee, military member, you may be asked to work and you're not getting paid on the 15th. 15th is going to come and go, and you're going to be like, oh, well, not in my bank account. So I want to read a snapshot of kind of what's going on in this space, because I see, and I know you're wondering, can I get a contract? Excuse me. What am I supposed to do with my contract? Do people get back pay? Janelle said DBE got declassified until proven disadvantage. All of those things. And my Facebook group, I'll put the link in here. At the time when I created the Facebook group, I just created a crazy name. So it's Accelerate Bid Wins. Accelerate Bid Wins. Okay. So let's talk about this. You can, of course, still get government contracts, but let's look at this. Republicans and Democrats are at an impasse right now. So it seems like this is going to continue, and President Trump is saying that layoffs are occurring. Asked this evening when federal workers would be fired, as he's threatened to do, Trump told reporters is taking place right now, and it's all because of the Democrats. So I've been in this space. My name is Dr. Kizzy Parks. Even behind this, the curls are popping. I've been in this space since Bush number 2, George Bush's son. There have been numerous shutdowns. And this was the very first time in my entire life in government contracting. I entered this space around 07, 08, that in a notice from the government, it said that this shutdown was due to the Democrats. In the past, all of the notices were impartial. So, just to paint a picture, okay? So, the possibility of layoffs would escalate a tense situation. And of course, Democrats are insisting on renewing subsidies to cover health insurance costs, while Trump wants to preserve existing spending levels, as he believes that Democrats will have to cave because of the jobs and federal projects being put at risk. So there's this back and forth over what they desire, and the pawn in all of this is the federal government, period. But I want to point a few things out. This is what you sign up for. We can only control ourselves. So when you enter this space, whether you're a military member, whether you work for an agency, you're a contractor, you're dabbling, you're doing both, whether you should or shouldn't, this is what we signed up for. I have been in this space since Bush 2. My name is Dr. Kizzy Parks, been awarded over 50 million in federal government contracts. And there have been numerous shutdowns because it's a pawn. It's part of the game. I foresee during the Trump administration, this is going to happen probably every year unless the House and the Senate are both Republican majorities. So what does that mean? There are people, contractors and government employees who are deemed essential. You will get a notice, which we received, that says your work is critical, your work is essential, and you may continue with your work. So number one, if you have a government contract, you should already know, should you continue, should you not. If for some reason you don't know, maybe your point of contact, your contracting officer representative, your contracting officer, maybe the main client is like Deuces and they were like, hey, Chris Brown, I want to go do a little photo shoot with him. And maybe they're not at work right now. You need to know this. This is very important. For those of you without a government contract, you're trying to get your first, second, third, fourth win. Are there opportunities? Okay, I'm just going to pull it up on my phone for the sake of efficiency. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the notification. If you want your question answered immediately, please buy a badge. Otherwise, I'll get to it when I see all of this. Okay. So there are 43,000 items. That doesn't mean that they're all contracts. There are 43,000 items. I'm so bummed, but it was my own fault. I did not win the fentanyl test strips. There was a little piece to the actual proposal I did not go into enough detail about. Everything else was perfect. I asked for a debrief from the Department of State. I received it. That person is clearly still working. So when it comes to federal government contracts, they are there, they are available. They may have monies that they're able to obligate, or they may say that this will be awarded upon funding. So what is going to happen at some point in time, the two parties, Democrats and Republicans, will figure out a budget. What they may do is pass a temporary budget. We have a continuous resolution. And let's say that goes until December 1st or January 7th or whatever the date is. And then they do this game all over again. Patience is the name of the game. Over communication is the name of the game. Coming to terms with this space is the name of the game. So if you are bidding on one of these thousands of opportunities and you email the Corps or the contracting officer, they may not write back. They're dealing with the fact that the 15th is going to come up and there's going to be 000 in their bank account. Oh, that's all right, Janelle. My price was good. Did you ask her a debrief? What happened with yours? What was your tell me? Okay, so Netta is talking about unprecedented political climate, um, all kinds of things. So let's lean into that. It is very unprecedented in that we have a president who is very vocal, very open. There's a lot of use of memes on different government sites. Very uses very extreme language. So then there are those that are very anti and feel overlooked and feel like things are taking a step backwards and that the world is ending. So I want to go back to how I started things off. Keep in mind, we are in control of ourselves only. Keep in mind that this is a federal government space. There are things you can do, but keep in mind that this stuff happens. The government, Jackie, doesn't, or excuse me, let me just share with everybody. The government doesn't shut down every year. It's a political tactic that's used. What will happen is, depending on the funds. So let's talk about this fentanyl. So the strip. So there was an opportunity on Unison for fentanyl test strips for Department of State in Mexico City, U.S. Embassy. So it could have been that they needed them, but they were buying them with last year's funds. So the shutdown has no impact because the money's cleared. Like it's like the credit card that still has a limit on it. You're like, oh, I'm good. I still got a limit. Now those other ones I don't know about, but this one is good. That's basically the premise. So it's very important when you win contracts to verify, hey, during the kickoff, how do I get paid? It says this. Who do I go to and how do I make sure my payment is approved? Do I need to be worried about a government shutdown? Will a government shutdown ever impact the funding? What happens if the government is shut down? Who do I communicate with? Because what happens is, and I can sense it, there's all of these emotions like, and that's cool, you have emotions, but you can't have all these emotions when the government just wants fentanyl test strips. They just want a wall painted. They're just trying to get staffing in place. They're not there for a dissertation on your views on politics. So this is very important to know and to be aware of. So every quarter is great for government contracting, especially the fourth quarter. But what I would like to talk about before I do is Tommy talks about his last 10 years on active duty was terrible. Constant continuous resolution caused so much friction in the workplace. Yeah. It's a political tool. Reynolds, your number one contractor is here and we're going to do amazing things. I'm so proud of you. My shipping measures, Janelle, my shipping measures to Mexico was to the standard. I don't know how to send to foreign territories. DHL. DHL or hired somebody. There are companies like there's one in Texas you can use. So you send it to the guy in Texas and then he forwards it on to the country. Your shipping measures wasn't to the standards. That's okay. What's up, growth? I think Trophus is on here. I don't see you. What's up, Trophus? Okay, Jackie, for emergency services, this uses a different tactic. Okay, I was focused on funding and they do close the books. Yes, they do. Okay, I need this video. Puda, lost my job, thought this is my time. Boom, shut down. Okay. There's the whole notion of when a door, let's have Trophus. I was looking for you. There's that whole saying in the notion of like a door closes, a window opens, or a trap door or back door or whatever kind of doors y'all are into. Whew. It's been a lot, right, y'all? If you're in a situation where you need money immediately, then you need to put yourself in a position to get money immediately. Upwork, Fiverr, freelancer, anything and everything like that. Put yourself in a position to get money tomorrow. Uber Eats, DoorDash, whatever the hot thing is in your area. That's first and foremost. Government contracting is a great place for those who understand it's going to take some time. It's easy to win a contract. Even when the government is open, it's not a matter of you bid today and then bam, tomorrow is the contract. Fanta, you do have to find the money. Look at you. I'm so glad you're here. You just won your tree trimming contract. I'm so proud of you. Excuse me. So proud of you. So, when it comes to this, in 2019, the government was shut down for, I believe, over 20 days. That was also the time when my dad passed. And I remember at that point in time, it was very tumultuous because if your work is stopped, you're not getting any money. You're not getting back paid. A government person may get back pay. A military member will get back pay, but as a government contractor, let's say you have a contract with Army Corps of Engineers and they ask you to stop work, how would you bill for janitorial if you didn't clean anything? You wouldn't. That is why having stellar client relations with an agency is so important because you want them to deem everything that you do as required, as necessary, as needed. You want them to see it as so essential that they freaking have dreams about you. That's what you want, not in a creepy way, but in a way of like you are their Amazon. Okay. And to recap, about 800,000 federal employees have been furloughed. There is an impasse largely over the healthcare subsidies. The healthcare is the big issue right now. Thank you, Netta. Trump administration has threatened the mass layoffs. Then, while this is going on, National Guard has been deployed to a lot of Democratic-led cities. 300 National Guard troops to Chicago. And, excuse me, also, apparently, it's been stated that drug cartels are placing bounties on federal immigration agents. All of this is very connected to government contracting because you're going to see this increased emphasis and funding on immigration. And if this is a topic that's very sensitive to you, then don't bid on opportunities there. If all of this makes you feel a little icky, then bid on state and local. Thank you, Kurt. I'm so glad you got the book. Let me take a quick photo. Also, even when the shutdown is over and it seems like I can rest assured, there are some other issues. Department of Transportation is really rethinking and putting the stop to disadvantaged set aside contracts. So if you have the disadvantaged minority business enterprise or anything of that sort through Department of Transportation at the federal level, now is the time to rethink that. Now is the time. Now is the time. There was a contract awarded, and they were talking about that I think they're ceasing it because they don't want contracts to be given out based on race. And I warn you all, and this is not about that, but I'm just letting you know, you can go back to my videos. I mean, Mr. Beast just recently talked about the video he had posted for 10 years from the date. So since we're going back in the way back machine, I warned you all. If you are hanging your hat on, I am a minority, I have an 8A, this is not the time for that. Keep in mind, the federal government already approved simplifying acquisitions, making it much easier to buy things. They already are increasing the simplified acquisition amount. At some point in time, they think in 5 years it may be $2 million. So think about that. So Janelle, an agency's like, "We love you, girl. We need to buy some office chairs." And you're like, "Okay." And they're like, "Well, we need $500,000 in office chairs." And you're like, "Okay." And then they just basically go directly with you. Thank you, Netta. I did. And even well before that, too. So these are things to keep in mind because it elevates dialing for dollars. It elevates understanding and honing in on what you really can win. And it also elevates where you should focus your time. So Angelo says, "I have a contract in place for car rentals. Should I possibly reach out?" Okay. So Angelo, you should already have a communication battle rhythm with your client. How often are you talking to them? You should be speaking with them a minimum of every week. What's your battle rhythm with them? I feel like that little ball in here is weird. Oh, yeah, I think it was like that to begin. Okay, I'm not sure if he's still here or not, but let's lean into this example from Angelo. When you win a contract, it's very important that you have a rhythm set up. Okay, well, when the government resumes, you have to have it's in your best interest to have a kickoff call. During the kickoff call, you discuss roles and responsibilities, frequency of communication, invoicing, what to do during a shut off, things like that. Yes, Nigel. So I'm going to give you a link to schedule a call with my team. I will have more and more like AI courses, some free things provided. Now is the time. No, Fanta, thank you. Now is the time. I can't emphasize. I'm letting you all know. If you want coaching, this is the time to act. This is it. This is definitely the time to act. I have an amazing team, and this is the time. More and more is going to come out, but now I want you all to know more and more is going to come out because I'm also shifting my attention and putting more on manifesting and affirmations and my psychic abilities. Whether you like it or not, whether you think it's the devil, I don't have those beliefs. And what's important is, regardless of your thoughts, get a cage code and bid. Bid, bid, bid. Okay. Okay. Being petty and pretty, let's leave that to Cardi. Let's leave that to Cardi. So it's findcontractsfaster.com. I'm going to put the link up here too. Findcontractsfaster.com. Okay, Paula, excuse me, said you need my help. Okay. Ayush. or Ayush. Can you resell products if you're a supplier with the products while adding a profit? Of course. Of course you can. Anytime. You can definitely do so. So I'm going to be very open with this because I was really open about the fentanyl strips. And Janelle, my plan, and if for some reason the other company can't deliver in 30 days, my plan was to just do it, hand deliver it, have them sent here, and I was just going to travel there. So a couple of things. One is if you're bidding on opportunities where you need to ship the product to another state, there are tons of companies that's their specialty. So you have the thing shipped to them, they will charge you a fee, and then they forward it. Kind of like a mail forwarding is the best way to put it. Okay. If you haven't checked out my book, winnerswaybook.com, winnerswaybook.com. Currently on Unison, there is an opportunity for wine refrigerators with the Four Seasons. It is actually a chain I've been staying in. I'm more of a St. Regis kind of gal. Love the St. Regis. I had a great experience at St. Regis, and it's one of my top 3 hotels. The St. Regis in the Playa, Mexico area. Thank you, Paula. I'm glad that you love the book. I love it, love it, love it. Eugene, why don't you invest in the class and then we can see if we can add you to a class that's already started. That's something we can do. Okay. So that could be an offer for you. I think that's a really fair item. Do I wait until, okay, so this is a fair question. You have your cage code. What do you do? Oh, Kyle, what's up from Bahamas? I love the Bahamas. My friend, her family owns planes and does stuff at the airport there. Okay. So for those of you, hey, I got a cage code. What do I do? Like Eugene. This is a great opportunity to okay, cool, Eugene. Perfect. I'm glad you invested. So you can contact Evan and be put into an existing class or wait. What I suggest that you do is number 1, the government shutdown. It doesn't mean you can't bid, but it puts you in this position of like bringing in, taking in knowledge, taking in information. Like this is a great time to go on sam.gov and just kind of see what is there, right? That's really important. And for you to figure out what do you want to bid on? What do you want to bid on? What kind of opportunities? And third, honing in on the mindset. This is a space of not neediness. We're going to lean into it like we do in those push-ups. I saw this guy at the gym today doing that. The push-ups on this like bar thing. I was like, okay. I can do regular push-ups. No disrespect to him, but I mean, we all should be able to do at least 10 push-ups, y'all. Ain't that bad. Point is, this is not a space for neediness. A coach and all of my amazing videos, my books, everything from Proposal That Wins to all of the courses that we have and more that's coming out. We're here to elevate. We're here to help give you the tools to learn, apply, and just, which is completely different from needy. But I know you all aren't needy. For some of you, it's just a matter of knowing you can do it. I'm going to use Fanta as an example. I don't know, Fanta, if you're still on or not. She's one of our UE students who recently won a tree trimming opportunity. And I remember specifically, we had a really in-depth conversation on janitorial. And she was like, look, I get what you're saying, but I don't feel comfortable with that. And I loved that because she set the boundary and she knew her. She didn't say, oh, I can't do a contract. And then compare that with there's other people that they just think like somebody's going to give them a contract. Now, can you pay for that? Yeah, but it's not the, hey, Kizzy, if you're so good, why don't you win me a contract? And then I do this and you do that. And it's like, okay, no, you sound dusty. We don't deal with dusty. This is love and light. And then there's this whole like, well, how about then there's these people out there that are like, okay, I'm gonna write proposals and get work for people. And I'm like, well, when did you do this for you? It's like it's like the whole situation with the government shutdown, especially with this administration. Anticipate this will happen every year unless the House and the Senate are both controlled by Republicans come midterm elections, which I'm not even sure mathematically if that's possible. I haven't looked at what seats are up for grabs. But at the end of the day, good Phantom, so glad you're here. It's going to happen. And there could be even moderate Republicans that disagree. So it doesn't mean that everything's going to be easy breezy as the time goes on. And the same thing happens with government contracting is this notion that, oh, I'm just going to write a bunch of contracts and make some money. You gotta have some proof of something, right? And so I'm really proud of you, Fanta, because you went after it, you never questioned it, and you're not needy. I'm really proud of you who are constantly learning, applying, adjusting, because that's what's key. Okay, Rare Earth, was that with the Department of Transportation? Um, let me know. Let me know. Yeah, it is. It says we have to resubmit. So it's Department of Transportation. Okay. I don't see that as a bad thing. Do you all see that as a bad thing? So let me just catch everybody else up. And that is this administration has made it very, very clear that they do not want to give out awards based on race. What does GDOT mean? Is that like a laughing out loud? Like, you got to break it down for me. So as a result, Department of Transportation has halted some contracts that were awarded because they were awarded to a DBE, a diverse business enterprise. Hold on. Okay. So some people I can see because I mean, I can sense your energy, whether, I just letting you know, I can sense your energy. Vernice, I'm glad you're here too. And I know some of you are mad. Disadvantaged business enterprise. Sorry, y'all. I'm like all over the place with acronyms. Um, so hold on, Rare Earth. I didn't see anything else. Okay. So at the end of the day, the federal government said no more. We're not giving out things based on race. Because remember, the 8A program, What's Up Ice Cream, was never designed to be a race-based program. It really wasn't. When I got my 8A in 2011, you had to write a narrative and things like that. During the Biden administration, they basically said they started giving out presumption of race, that if you said, hey, you're a shade of brown, it was assumed that you've been discriminated against. Has every person who's a shade of brown been discriminated against? No. Just letting you know. Okay. So, because I'll give you a quick example. If somebody, and let's look at disadvantage, because A disadvantaged business enterprise, 8A, it's disadvantage. So if their family is very, very well off and they're a shade of brown, does that mean that they're entitled to the program? How is that any different? Oh, get ready. Get ready. How's that any different than a white person who is financially disadvantaged and grew up in Hawaii? White people are discriminated against all the time in Hawaii. Why do I bring up things like this? I bring up things like this because it's important to understand these programs. It's important to understand a bit of the history. And it's most importantly to understand if and why and when, where, and how these should be leveraged. Okay. So, leaning into the disadvantaged business enterprise of Department of Transportation, many of you received a notice that said that, Georgia, that you're no longer considered disadvantaged, that they're not basing it on race, they're now basing it on a different set of criteria. So here's my question to you, Rare Earth and everybody else. How many of you type yes or do some hearts? How many of you have won a contract in which it was for a disadvantaged business enterprise through Department of Transportation, whether it was Georgia, Florida, Illinois, Indiana, Hawaii, or it was Department of Transportation federal? I know there's a little bit of a delay, so I'll wait. I'll restate the question. How many of you have won a contract as a DBE? It was set aside for DBEs through Department of Transportation, federal level or state. And maybe those watching the replay, if you have, say yes. I know the answer is no. So I'm just trying to play along, be a little cute here. I got the pretty and petty kind of theme going on along with Magnet. So why be upset? It's kind of like the government shutdown. Why be upset that the government is shut down when you can't control it? Why be upset? Okay, yes, you went through a lot of things to get the certification. But you haven't won anything with it. So why are you mad? Because you feel like something was taken away. But was something really taken away? And congratulations, Rare Earth, too. Hear me out. There was a time where I was like going on all these cruises and I was like really fat then. And I was like, man, I got to get my money's worth. I am like ordering room service at like midnight because, on the cruises, like Carnival and stuff, I did Carnival, Royal Caribbean, and Norwegian. I even took my birth mom on this tour to the motherland, to Italy. I'm ordering room service. I'm going to every buffet. I'm checking out every nook and cranny. If they offered food, I'm like, oh, I'm getting my money. I'm getting my money. I'm in the spa all the time. My mom's going to all the things. I'm in the casino. I was like, I'm getting my money's worth. That was crazy. All I did was leave with like heartburn and gaining weight. And the food there is crazy. If y'all have ever watched any kind of videos on cruise food or anything like that, I mean, I might as well just gone to Golden Corral. So was I really gaining anything? Was I really getting my money's worth? Or was it almost like a mentality of scarcity? Instead of, oh, I'm going to go on this cruise and have fun and live the way that I live, it was like, I got to get mine. I got to get mine. So now the DBE regulations have changed. Okay, show your profit and loss and write a narrative. You got to show that you're disadvantaged. You better get that creative writing in ChatGPT. But I highlight this because there are people who are not shades of brown who are also disadvantaged. And that messes up people. That really messes up people. Because people think if you're not a shade of brown, you're just living it up. You got 401k, good credit, 2 kids, life is good, and you're the CEO. And you may say, like, dang, Kizzy, where all this coming from? Don't forget, I'm Dr. Kizzy Marie Parks, and I started out in diversity and inclusion. Whether you like it or not, it's the truth. So, all that this government shutdown is doing is further allowing the administration to continue on with their initiatives, removing race-based things, shedding the federal government workforce. Doge is still actively cutting contracts. That hasn't stopped. There are contracts that aren't being funded. There are contracts that are being reviewed by Doge. Another piece of news that's really important is you're going to find that many agencies are not going to post a forecast because they don't want it to be scrutinized. With the upcoming increase in simplified acquisition dollar amount, you're going to see a lot more. I'm just going to be blunt, favoritism and easy button. So they know rare earth is easy to work for you, to do work with you. They're going to want to do work with you. That's right, Janelle. When you know better, you do better. Thank you, Tommy, for your feedback. Crimson. How do I know if they still have a budget for some essential things? Add a strategy on what you bid on. How do I know where to bid on? Especially on the state level. The state level is you'll often see a list of procurement people, call them, email them, ask them to coffee, wheel and deal them. See, ask what the rule is. I mean, typically you can't spend more than $25, but state and local is so different. Get to know the mayor, be part of a volunteer group for the state or the city, find out what kind of contracts they need. They'll list them. Typically, states will list them, what they're looking to buy. Also, at the state and local level, they'll list their schools, like a state school, public, like college. So, Felicia, we have our WSB too. So, it's about leaning in and focusing in on what do you want to bid on. Okay, but Felicia, I like because she said never been able to use it. So let's talk about this. There's this really famous psychological kind of test, I guess, or it's like you have a box. You remember those long boxes of matches? I remember growing up, my dad always had them. So imagine a long box of matches. So you have like a long box of matches, and I think you have a candle, and you have to get the box to stay against the wall with the candle on it. I think that was the test. I may have to check because I got dusted off at when I took intro to psychology. I'm 28 for life, so it was when TikTok first came out. Okay, so there's like all of these steps people would try to go through to get the matches to the box to stay against the wall and the candle, and you got to be able to light the candle. And basically the answer is you're using the candle wax. So it's how do you use the tools for things other than what they're intended for? Like using a hammer, maybe you use it as a meat tenderizer. I mean, you cover it up. Listen, just y'all, I'm not the only one using stuff for other reasons, other purposes. So maybe you cover it up with some plastic wrap or something, or foil or whatever you do in your household, and use it as a meat tenderizer, use it as a weapon. You use it to remove nails. Maybe you use the other side of the hammer for a different reason than the flat side, where the head of the hammer is. Maybe you use the butt of the hammer for something else. Bottom line is the same thing applies to woman-owned small business set aside. It is not to be used, go to sam.gov, because somebody asked which is better. Nothing's better. Wherever you find an opportunity is the best. You do not go to sam.gov, click woman-owned small business set aside, start bidding. That is not the answer, Felicia, and anybody else who has WOSB at all. The answer is you have to dial for dollars. You have to find an agency who is looking to put work on contract to a woman-owned small business, and you got to fit and provide what they're looking for. That's how you use it. We've had 3 WOSBs, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 WOSB contracts. One of them was competitive. One of them was sole source for $500,000, I think $500,000. And then the other 2 were sole source too. So the 3 that were sole source were all due to a relationship. Crimson, it's about using them outside of the box. So it's like how I learned the other day that you're supposed to put the colander in the pot when you're pouring stuff instead of the other way. And I was like, oh my gosh, nobody taught me this. That's what it's about. It's about you have to dial for dollars to take advantage of your set asides. And most people don't want to do that. They don't want to pick up the phone and start calling agencies and do capability briefs. Setting up appointments, Gloria, and having capability briefs. That's what dialing for dollars is. Yes, Fanta. It's just a smaller pool to compete against. And a lot of the WOSB you're going to see online is going to be like nails and screws and weird stuff. And also, can we get a shout out? Like not too long ago, I could not squeeze into this. This dress is like, I got room up in here. I'm excited. Fitness is paying off. Fitness is paying off. Wait till I memorize some more Cardi B lines because I don't have them all memorized, but I know there's one about this. Crypto. Does getting certifications actually eliminate the middleman? No, you trying to eliminate the middleman, crypto? What's going on? Fat burn. What's up, Fat burn? I was going to say that. Love the pattern. I do too. Y'all, I think this was like a Fashion Nova kind of thing. I'm not sponsored by these people, but I like to give some credit for now. But soon they're going to have to start cutting checks. I'm not going to be name dropping them, but I love Fashion Nova. You got to mix it up. You got the little, I love YSL black on black. So I would do like one of my YSL black on blacks with this and my Ferragamos. I love Ferragamos. I would wear my Ferragamo shoes with this. You got to mix it up. Cardi taught us. Gloria, you're setting appointments for a capability brief. Thank you, Paula. I sure am. And what you do is you set up this appointment and you have a capability brief and you talk about what you've done, situation, action, and result. Situation, action, result. And you're trying to find out, do they have a need for something similar? Do they foresee it in the future? How are they going to procure it? Because part of this administration and some of the big news that's kind of undercover is the government is using more and more the GSA schedules. So as part of our Ultimate Edge program, you get access to our GSA schedules, and the government as a whole is starting to use more and more. They're being pushed like, okay, is this on a schedule? Can you buy this on a schedule? Schedule. So that reminded me, I'm in the middle of doing an update for one of our schedules. Hold on, you guys. You shop at this store way too much when they Saint Laurent, when they send you. I got this as a Christmas gift last year. I love this thing. I've never experienced anything like that in my life. This is fun. It's very important to indulge in yourself, whatever that means for you. I have to make sure we take care of some things for our GSA schedule. Okay. From your experience, do certifications actually streamline? Oh my gosh, y'all. I have the most amazing candle called Abundance. Get ready. When y'all start seeing me selling candles and cards, don't be worried because you're going to be changing your life with them. Do certifications actually streamline access or do they just shift who controls? They elevate you if you take advantage. It all goes back to how you use it. Like there are people who use this and make millions and billions, and there's people who use this and don't make millions and billions. It's like it's all about how you leverage a tool. Okay, Frank, what was the bad advice that you got and why did you give two back? What was this bad advice? I'm going to take a photo. What was this bad advice, if you don't mind sharing? What's up, Sosa? Yeah, it's called Abundance. I really like it. Gloria, with who? How do we know which agent to talk to? Yeah, it's called a capability brief, and you would talk to a small business rep. A small business rep, not to the person, not based on sam.gov. You look up small business reps. It's on acquisition.gov. But less, it's going to be paid. I mean, you can call IPP to ask. That's why it's very, very important during y'all's kickoff to have these discussions. I can't emphasize it enough. You have to talk to them. Who is involved in the payment process? Who do I need to send this to? And have these blunt discussions. Francisca. Yeah, I was waiting for Frank. I haven't heard back from Frank, and I appreciate your honesty, Francisca. Where to start? Start with winnerswaybook.com or buy it on Amazon. Winnerswaybook.com or buy it on Amazon. Thank you, Crimson. Sosa, love your videos. You're real, the best to ever do it. Thank you. I'm going to answer a couple more questions because I need to energetically turn it in. Doesn't matter if you have performance. You can use past performance of your sub as long as they allow it. What matters is that you know you can do it. I've never purchased fentanyl test strips in my life, but we got a great deal and I was prepared to buy them and fly with them to Mexico City. They never asked me, have I done it before? Winnerswaybook.com. Let me give you the link. And I want to say a special shout out to all of you who keep learning, applying, adjusting. I want to give a shout out to all of you who have attended some of our free and paid items, who have invested in themselves. More and more is coming. Just don't be surprised. You're going to see more and more on the government side, more on manifesting. You're going to see all of this. Okay, so it wasn't me, Frank. I just want to make sure this wasn't Dr. Kizzy Parks that gave you this advice because I'm a little traumatized. Frank. I'm sorry, Frank. But guess what? Thank you, Gloria. Damn, Frank. That's fucked up. I think I can drop one F-bomb. So this is how I see it. Look, we've all been there, done that. You got T-Swift it. You got to shake it off a little bit. And have you noticed a trend? The ones that you gave back, if they were military, you may not want to bid on those anymore. Okay, good. Oh, thank you, Janelle. Simi, I can't see your photo, girl. What's up? What's up, Simi? Um, you know, Irene, set up text me and set up time. What's important? Oh, thank you, Francesca. Irene, what's really important is you got to apply the GovCon Winners Way to those opportunities. Anytime you see a GSA opportunity, it's go into the GSA portal and go through it and apply it. Just schedule time with me. Maybe Tuesday, Wednesday, I'll go over it. Maybe I'll do that in the coaching Tuesday, Wednesday. I love that you would like a one-on-one. Here's what I suggest that you do. Okay. I suggest that, and thank you for the badge. Thank you for the love. I suggest that you meet with my team, set up a call with Evan and Zach. Okay. And then let them know. Here, I'm going to take a photo so then they know too. And let them know you want a one-on-one and we can make that work. Whether we include something in something we offer, we'll figure it out. We'll make it work for you. Just give me one moment. So somebody asked about evaluation based. How does the new which merit based evaluation system? For what? Reynolds, there's no reason you can't. There is a ton of work at the state and local level. I mean, let me lean into this as to what is happening here with the merit base. Um, Ron, if you want an infrastructure contract, by all means. Tiffany, okay, well, what do they offer to do for you? What do they offer to do? Liz Abundance is beautiful. So pretty. So pretty. What are they offering to do? What do they want in exchange? Is it $6,000 and then they take a cut? What is it? Tiffany, tell me more. So let's talk about this whole merit based. When it comes to federal government contracts, the contracts are evaluated based on the evaluation criteria in the actual posting. So sometimes it's based on best trade off, sometimes it's based on lowest price technically acceptable. Sometimes it's based on you have to be on a contract vehicle. And so at the end of the day, it has to do with you meeting and exceeding their criteria. That's all it means at the end of the day. So, for instance, this opportunity that I didn't win, because I'm not going to BS you and say I won everything, because that's not how it works. LeBron didn't make all of his shots. There are more shots he didn't make than he made. Same thing with government contracting. I've brought in over 50 million and I've lost probably 4 times that. That's just the nature of life. So with this fentanyl drug testing strips, they said I didn't go into great detail about how I was going to get them there. But my price is $1,000 less. That's fine. I messed up. I didn't give them what they needed. Okay. So there is a debrief that you get part of Proposal Master Academy. And in there, the agency was like, "You didn't explain how." And I was like, "Lord, they're right." So, like, it's very clear why I didn't win, and I can't blame them. It's on me. I didn't give them what they wanted. Okay. What NAICS are you currently looking at? I don't look based on NAICS. Use it based on my abilities and what makes sense for me. So I'm bidding on wine coolers for the Four Seasons on Unison. Tiffany, I'm waiting to hear back from you, girl. I didn't get anything. Focus Films, yeah. Fanta, I'm not sure if you're still on. How long had you been in business before you got training from us? I mean, I know people who won their first bid. They were in business like a month. Let's see what else. Can I lease somebody else's authority with my focus? You can if somebody needs a box truck for some reason. Okay, 18 months. Okay, Derek, I'm really proud of you. That's amazing, Fanta. I'm so proud of you and your dedication. And nobody questioned. Nobody was like, tell me about your tree trimming, or Kizzy, tell me about your fentanyl drug strips. I don't need a box truck focused, but people may. Okay, so let's lean into Fanta. Okay, this is great. Fanta girl. Hold on. Hold on. So let me see here. I'm gonna get back to you, Tiffany. Focus Films. So Fanta had been in business for 18 months. She had never bid before. In our Ultimate Edge program, she not only bid, but she's won in just a couple months. So it shows you, okay? It shows you. Let's see. There we go, Derek. June 29th, first award. I hate that I can't see it on here as well. I'm really proud of you, Derek, that you resubmitted from the 93.5 and got it up to 115. I'm so proud of you. That's amazing. I can help you win contracts. I'm not saying it's going to be for a box truck. A lot of the transportation contracts at the federal level are for moving. You might want to try state or local, or why not rent your box truck out to somebody who delivers for Amazon? I don't know how big, like, I think you put 29, did you say 29 feet? 26. Let's see, we had a 22-foot prowler growing up on my camping. We had a 32-footer. I mean, I don't know. Can you do that? Can you arbitrage it to somebody who does Amazon, or I don't know. I mean, I think you may have to think outside of. I mean, no pun intended, but you got to think outside of the box. Maybe I don't know. Maybe people. I was gonna say do hair in there. I don't look. I'm just trying. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm scared they're gonna crash my truck. Well, to have that abundant mindset. Maybe you do like the casinos. You know how in some states you can have riverboat casinos and the casinos don't go anywhere? Don't they do that in St. Louis? And with y'all nasty pizza, and I know y'all get mad at me, but that pizza's so gross. Okay, but don't they do that in St. Louis? Like, if you could help me out here, y'all. Anybody here from St. Louis? It's just like stationary. Maybe you do something like that. Like you have a box truck and like you rent it out. People do stuff in it. So it's kind of like a portable, but not a portable. So it's like, do you need space? You can rent my box truck. It's at this location this week. I'm just trying to think of ways to get you fast cash. Oh, somebody asked me about HR, Universe, and others. And okay, Yori. I don't know what that means. I see you shooting. shooting. Okay. I don't know what that means. Okay, a couple things and I gotta go.